Shine Inside and Out is an interview series where I chat with some of the brightest people I know who are unapologetically shining their light and empowering others to do the same. From fellow beauty professionals who are experts in the art of beauty and creativity to inner beauty experts who are passionate about authenticity, creativity, health, thriving relationships, finances, and people who are spiritually connected to their truth and living as their highest self. Hello, welcome to Shine Inside and Out. My name is Andrea Pettingill, and I'm here today with the fabulous Melissa Opie. She's a life coach and just all over the internet, this amazing social media marketer and just putting her business out there. I love all the things that she is doing. I actually first met her in a group for like-minded entrepreneurs, and we hit it off, and I got to actually personally work with her, and she has helped me to grow my business and my self-confidence, being online, being in front of a camera, putting that video online. And I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with and can relate to. And I just admire so much what Melissa's doing with her business all over the internet and just her amazing influence on others and how she is uplifting the world and helping us to smile and have fun. One of my favorite things about Melissa, you just bring such a fun, lighthearted factor to what you do. And so I want to get into that, and I want to give you a chance to say hello and introduce yourself. So take it away, Melissa.
Thank you so much for that awesome intro. I call myself a life architect because I needed to kind of get away from the life coaching term. I think it's just really because in my world, I'm surrounded by life coaches, and I kind of wanted to step away from that. And so I call myself a life architect now, but it's basically the same thing. I focus on the designing of your life and structuring it and stepping back and be like, how do I want to have all this unfold? And so that's my thing. Also, as far as building my business, I've become really good at this whole marketing thing and social media, and it all happened really naturally. So I've been kind of embracing that about myself instead of being oh, I can't do that, that's not within my life coaching boundaries, to be no, I'm going to teach people about Snapchat because I know how to use it, so why not?
I love it. I love that you do that. So the question that I just wanted to bring up in talking about Snap School, since you brought it up, is that what is Snapchat, first of all? That's kind of a big question because some people might not know. And why did you decide to create Snap School? And it's just really exciting to me that you are going out there, putting yourself out there and creating a tool and platform for people to learn from. I have so many things, but I'll just let you get started with those.
Awesome. So yeah, Snapchat is an app. It's an app that started with a lot of teenagers using. My sisters were actually, because they're younger than me, they're like, oh, you need to use Snapchat. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I wasn't really into it at first, but then I started following business people on Snapchat, and I was like, what? How are they using this in a legitimate way? And then I was like, oh, this is so cool. I get to see people that I admire from afar, and now I get to be taken behind the scenes into their life, and I'm like, this is so awesome. And so I kind of fell in love with that, and after a year of playing with it and getting really familiar with the app, I created Snap School, and I specifically catered Snap School for coaches and creative business owners, people who want to use it for building their brand, because I think if you're just a normal person, you might not need to take Snap School. But for people who are I want to use this for my business, but I don't know how to use it, I'm here's Snap School. It's free. Just take it. It'll teach you everything. So,
love it. I love that you're doing that. Let me get into some questions here.
Yeah.
So you put yourself out there online a lot, and I don't know if a lot of my viewers are actually doing the same thing, putting their stuff on Facebook at all, or putting their business and what they do online. And maybe my viewers are not even with having businesses or not, but they might be struggling with not feeling like they can be their true selves and shine, which is one of my main just passions of mine, is to be an advocate of be your true self, shine, let other people see who you are, what you're doing, and be brave enough to do that, to put yourself out there. So that's why I asked you to be on the show, because I love that you are doing that so beautifully. So talk to me about how you first put yourself out there, and maybe what kind of challenges came up for you surrounding that, because Like, I don't know, maybe it was easy for you, but let's hear it from you.
No, it was not easy for me. I don't think it really ever is. I mean, maybe for some people it is, but I know it certainly was not for me. And I struggled a long time. Where I am today has been tons and tons and tons of work in the back end of like inner growth, like developing confidence and trust. And it takes time. Like these things are not things that you're just going to be like, oh, I want to start an online business and ooh, I'm just going to like own my stuff and just like go out there. Like it's not that easy. And so I know for a long time I was totally beating myself up for not being visible because I'd see everybody else doing it and I'd be like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do it? Why can't I just put myself out there the way that they are? So yeah, that was how I started, was not doing that.
I love that. And like, everybody has those thoughts of like beating yourself up, like, why am I not doing that? And when I hear those thoughts, I like to check in and realize that, you know, you think that that thought is like you beating yourself up for not being this great, like public figure person. But what the under is like, it's never about what it's about. And what it really is about is your inner higher self giving you this feeling, this desire, this passion to be what you see because you are meant to do that. Does that make sense? So like the reason that you felt so bad that you're not there is because your higher self is like screaming at you inside. It's like, Melissa, you're meant to do this. So step into it. And so like I love like actually hearing the true message from your higher self, like this is what I'm meant to do. So when you see someone who's doing something amazing, it's because you see a mirror reflection of your greatness. So I love that you had that same journey because I felt the same way. It's like, I got to step into this. I'm beating myself up, but yeah. So
yeah, I think it really happens the moment that you're accepting that this is part of the process. Because when you're in that cycle of keep beating yourself up, then it doesn't really help. But once you can notice that, okay, like I see what's really going on here. Like you said, like it's never just about the thing. Then it was a lot easier for me to be like, okay, let's address the issue at hand, which is, like you said, like I'm meant to be there. That's why it was feeling so strong in my body. Like if someone didn't care about being this public person online, then they wouldn't feel the way that I was feeling. So
exactly, like they just be like, oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna worry about it. So the second part to that question, how did you get over the perfectionism part of that?
I think a lot of it at first came from desperation, and at the very beginning it was just a lot of forcing myself to be out there and very different energy of, hey, like I kind of quit my job to do this full time. I need to make money, and feeling really pressured of like, why is nothing happening right away? So I don't really recommend that that's like the way you should do it. Like, oh, I need to make this work. That's how I learned. It was just a matter of experimenting, playing, and
you have to kind of fail forward. Like as much as you say like don't like do this in such a negative energy way, like it was probably your perfect process, right?
Yeah, that's so true. That's like really good way of looking at it, because you're right. If it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So you do have to be able to fail and be willing to make mistakes.
That's a hard way to like go about it, but like, oh my gosh, the pressure of like, this has to be created because this is my passion. So I'm going to keep moving forward. Like, good for you. I'm like, give you props for that.
And the other thing I would say is that it takes time. So like be patient with yourself. And I'd go through these spurts of putting myself out there and then being really good. And then I'd shrink back and be like, wait, no, now I'm back to being stuck again. And it was just like that kind of cycle. But also at this point now, I've realized that that's okay to work through things. That's also something not to beat yourself up over. But at first that was the cycle I was noticing. And I was also at first very upset about it.
No, but those cycles happen for all of us, especially as women. You kind of have a cycle thing that happens. So we get to honor that. Like, we're not going to fight against it. Like, be like, okay, like I could be on top of my game with my business, and then I could be down here in this low, and then I could come back around and just like love on that, like, you know, and let that be. Because
I love that.
It's going to happen. And I know because you've been doing this for so long, now you can see the cycles happen, because when you first start, you're like, well, it's just, I'm failing. I'm just failing. But in all actuality, the circle is going around. You know what I mean? So you just don't see the bigger picture quite yet. But when you see a couple different loops happen over the years of you progressing with your business, now you see the pattern. Now you see the cycle, and you know that you'll come back on top, and you just honor and love it through what's going on.
Exactly. So beautifully said. Thank you. That was awesome.
Something you're really amazing at is the tech stuff, and being, you created this online course that's amazing with all the ways you can just easily plug in with your email, and you're watching your videos, and you edit video beautifully, and you create all these amazing tools for people. Like, how do you not get overwhelmed with that, as far as like everything having to look perfectly and getting overwhelmed with technology?
The very beginning of my business, I was so overwhelmed with everything. And I was at the point where I was like, I don't even want to look at MailChimp. I don't even care about like having a website. I just want to coach people. That's all I want to do. I don't want to deal with anything else. After going through a series of hiring people to take care of those things for me, like I could not deal with MailChimp at the beginning. Like I really couldn't. And so I had kind of started building a list and then didn't really do it. And then like, I know this isn't going to make sense for a lot of people listening, but like then I had to actually hire someone to like do it. I was like, I need you to like take care of this. And then she made it look really easy. And then after that, I was like, oh, maybe I can do this on my own. So that's kind of how that happened. But like, if it wasn't for me being like, here, take my money, take care of this for me, then I don't think that I would ever have done it, because there was such a block to that. After that, I was like, okay, like I felt really comfortable like learning, and things did get a little bit easier after just playing with it, I guess, and just changing my mindset around it. I think that was like a big part of it, was being like, maybe I could play with these things and have fun with it because it's part of my business. Why not?
In jumping into my next question, something that, I mean, we've already talked about a lot, is that you are a very, very much online business. And so you create all your income and mostly on relationships that you cultivate and create online. And so I want to just ask you how you do that. Do you have any tips for that? And like and maybe people who are watching aren't necessarily building an online business, but they find themselves not truly and authentically connecting with people, like whether on Facebook or anything like that, on their social media, stuff that they are a part of. So what tips, tools, and suggestions do you use in your business?
I really do believe that there's like, okay, so I'm a really shy person in person. So like if you meet me in like the real world, you would be like, she's so quiet, she never says anything, and like kind of hides in the corner. Like I'm that weirdo. But when it comes to being online, I'm just like I feel so much more safe and understood, because I know that there's so many people out there who either get me or don't get me. It's just, I guess, an introvert thing maybe, because I'm super introverted. And so I do feel really comfortable putting myself out there online.
I am traditionally an introvert as well. And I've gotten to, like we mentioned before, like if that negative feeling is telling you something, like, because my introvertness was like telling me something, like go out there, talk to people. And so like as another introvert, speaking to another introvert, so like how did you use that in Facebook or whatever to like put yourself out there?
I had to accept that I was going to do myself. I was going to put myself out there, and then if people liked it, they would like it. If they didn't, they didn't. But it wasn't up to me to decide that, because at first this whole thing of needing to be liked by everyone was such a big thing that held me back. Like, I think a part of it was I grew up kind of like where everything I did was being judged. So I like had programmed my brain to think about how everything I did was going to be judged by everybody else.
Yeah.
And that held me back for so long.
So many people can relate to that. Yeah.
Actually, when I first put out this video, and I still have people talk to me about it to this day. It was like one of my very first Facebook videos, and I was like, hey guys, it's so bad. Like when I look at it, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? But it was like super awkward and shy, and being like, hey, this is me. And I was like kind of opening up about something that really like vulnerable about, because I wanted to put out this program, and then I didn't do it in time, and then I procrastinated, and I was really scared, and I kind of
seen that video. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. Yeah.
I remember getting so many people like commenting on that video being like, wow, this is so good. I can totally relate. Thank you for sharing that. You've inspired me to step out of my comfort zone and do a video and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, like I did not expect that kind of response. Realizing that I overthink things for myself, but when I can tell this brain to stop getting in the way, then I can just let my heart do its thing. I think that was one of the biggest things that I feel like helped me a lot, was telling my overanalyzing paralysis brain to stop getting in the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, that's what I was talking about before, is perfectionism. You know, we get so stuck in the way it's supposed to look like, especially with online business, because there is so many resources out there that help you to build a certain strategy or a certain, and there's people who actually just published a blog post about this, like it having to look a certain way. And the truth is that nobody has your same exact experiences, knowledge, and the essence of who you are that makes you you, that is so unique, that's what people want when they coach with you. That's what people want, you know, in the salon when they work with me and come in to get their nails done. They want my energy, they want my personality. And so there's only one unique combination of you, and you do things your certain way, and what feels good to you is the answer.
Yes.
Don't you think?
I love that. And I totally realized that I didn't actually answer the question about making relationships.
Yeah, let's get back to that.
So basically, self-trust, really, like trust in yourself, trust in the universe or higher power, like that always helps, because then it's not as much pressure, because you're like, it's all going to work out. Like it's all in control, you know. Then I would just start to kind of talk to people and not be afraid to reach out. And the thing is, like at the beginning, you're so lonely. I don't know if this was the experience for you, but when I was first online, I was like, it felt like it was like me against them. You know, it was just like, I'm all alone here. I have this whole like internet world to like conquer.
It's a big scary thing.
Yeah. When I started to actually like reach out to people and get to know them as people, I was like, oh, they're just normal people like me. Like we're all here hanging out, doing this fun thing. So
I love that. I think that was really huge for me. And I was just like sending you so much love when I saw one of the people that you and I both follow is Alex Beaton, right? And I saw you hanging out with her in New York, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I was like sending you a snap on Snapchat, and it was just like, she's just a normal person. Like, what was that experience for you? Because like, was that the first time you met her in person?
Yeah, it was just like one of those things. I was like, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm going to do it. And so I did. And I remember, because I was on Periscope, I was like on my way there, and I was like, oh my goodness, like these people are so dressed up, and I'm not dressed as nice as these
so cute. I remember that. Yeah.
You had actually reached out to me and said, wow, I'm so proud of you for going even though you felt so uncomfortable. And like I did, like on one hand, feel really like, oh my God, I don't belong here. But then I was like, what am I going to do? Like give up on this opportunity? Like, no. So I went for it, and it was fine. And of course, seeing Alex completely non-judgmental about how I was dressed really helped. There were people there who were really judgmental. Like, you know, you just get the vibe.
There's like all sorts everywhere, right?
Yeah, but I didn't care because I was there to see Alex. So yeah, she was just really sweet and open, took me in as one of her own. And I was like, this is so cool. I'm so glad I went.
Realizing that people are just, they're all just people. We're all human people. And, you know, I think that was one of the biggest things for me in my personal growth journey, is to just really take on the new belief that we are all equal. There's no one greater or less than. We are all equal.
When you can really think that way, I feel like it just opens you up to so many possibilities. We do unconsciously put ourselves below other people. Like we do that all the time.
Like as soon as you walk into a room, you decide this person goes here, this person goes here, I go here, and you just like make those little like decisions.
This is the whole thing about like designing your life, is like you get to decide. Like you get to say, wait, you know, am I below these people or am I not? Like, do I get to be equal? And if you decide you are, then you are. And then you get to show up that way. Yeah. And that changes how other people respond to you. So it's just like a ripple effect, but it starts within. Yeah.
And the opposite is true, because what we believe creates our reality. So if you believe that if you're below that person and you put yourself below that person, and then you just sit in that like shame.
Right.
That is a dangerous place to live. Like,
Yes.
why would you do that? But we just do it subconsciously,
We
right?
do.
Like we just decide, oh, I guess I belong here. And then you
Yeah.
sit in your sad, lonely place.
Yes, yes, we do. I love that what you said about what you believe shapes our reality.
Yeah.
Which is, it's so important and so true. And I feel like not enough people believe that.
Yeah.
You know, they think we're crazy. They're like, why would you believe something that's not true? And I'm like, but what you believe is what's true. So
It's the higher truth. Like,
yeah.
it's so, yeah.
This is so fun. I love talking about stuff like this.
I know. That's what, like, I was trying not to get to, like, my interviews have to be a certain way. Like, I guess that's like my big theme. Nothing has to look a certain way. And I was like, because I'm excited to have this conversation with you, that's how I know this is the right type of conversation to have interviews about.
Exactly.
I want to dive into like the way Melissa thinks.
One of the things that I know you pick up on with me is that things are fun. And I think that was one of the biggest things that like shifted like everything for me, because when I first started my business, everything was just like stress and struggle and difficulty and like uphill, like battling.
Yeah.
But then I was able to turn that all around. This is meant to be fun. Then that helped a lot, because then
oh my gosh,
was more fun.
I love that you brought this up, because that's something that's so huge. Like when I teach the fun part of life, it's like we get to be like kids, because what are kids like doing? They're like, oh, that's interesting, let me learn about that. But what are adults doing? They're like, I know it all, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that is a scary place to live, because if you live in I know it all, then all the knowledge you have is all the knowledge that you get. How scary is that?
I know.
You don't know the answer right now, you never ever will. Like, that is scary to me. So I always want to live in the place of just humble possibility of like, maybe I just don't know yet. I'm excited to learn how to be better. Like, I'm excited to learn what I don't know. I'm just going to play. I'm just going to experiment with life. I love that you're a life architect. Like, let's just build it. Let's just create it, you know? And I just want to like mention, what is the name of your group? Like, tell everybody the name of your group. Because
my Facebook group is called Badass Unicorns.
Badass Unicorns. Like, that is fun. Like, we're playing, we are badass unicorns. We're having fun with this business thing and what we're creating online. Like, so cool. I love that, like, your little graphics and like the things that you create are like little stars and unicorns, and it's so fun. Like, even like as like, I'm a little bit older than you, I think. And like
just a tiny
a little bit, but like I just go, this is cool. I want to be in that energy of that youthful, like, fun. Oh my gosh, it excites me so much. So talk more on that. Like, I don't know what my question is, but talk about it.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I think it's so important to be okay with being like embracing your inner child. Like, so many adults are so caught up in like trying to be an adult, and they're like so unhappy, right? Like all the people who are like so stuck in their old ways and like not wanting to play. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. Like, that is not how I want. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of living?
You're creating your life. So is that what you want to create?
Exactly. And like being happy for the sake of being happy and not apologizing for it, I think is so important. There are people out there who would be like, you're so childish. Why would you just be happy? Don't you see all the misery in the world? And I'm like, yeah, I know it sucks. Like, I feel it. I'm not like not compassionate. Like, I know that there's horrible things happening out in the world, but that doesn't mean that I need to be feeling sad all the time, because that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help the people around me. And it's like a ripple effect, right? Like, if you are one person who can make someone else smile and make them feel good about who they are instead of bringing them down, maybe they can then uplift other people around them. And so, yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love your bright energy. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So I knew this would happen, but we're like going on and like we're running out of time. But I want to just open it up to, is there anything else that you would want people to know about you? Is there any like amazing Melissa wisdom that you would want to give to us? Anything as far as that goes?
let yourself be happy and don't apologize for it. And like if you feel like having fun or being happy or being excited are things that like kind of trigger a response of like, wait, I'm not allowed, or like that feels weird, like address that, because that's something to look into. Like don't judge it, but like look into it, like what's going on there.
Yeah. That's actually really huge, because I mean, I talk about it all the time. Like everything that happens or comes up for us, as far as like maybe a limiting belief that you might have, is just perfect feedback. It's like, whoa, put the brakes on. I need to look at this. Like you just said, like look into that and like ask yourself. And I think that's what the whole message is of being a life architect or a life coach or a mentor, is teaching and communicating the practice of self-inquiry, like asking yourself, what are my behaviors creating in my life? And I got to create my own life. So what do I want my behaviors to be? Because your behaviors create your actions, and the results that you get come from those actions. So we get to go in and really look at those. When you let the fear stop you, that fear now controls you. Thank you for bringing that up. Like I believe in that so wholeheartedly. Like if you're about to go maybe give a presentation and you have such a big fear come up and panic attack that you decide, I'm not getting on stage, and you go home, now that fear controls you. Now the next opportunity you get to do that, you'll listen to that fear and it'll control you and take you back to that dark place. But if you just go, okay, I'm feeling this fear and I'm going to go on stage anyways, I'm going to mess up, I'm going to embarrass myself, it doesn't matter. And then you let yourself have the growth experience. That's what we're all here trying to do, is become the next greater version of ourselves. And so when we just step into that fear instead of letting it control you, like it's taking that choice back. Like don't be in bondage of the fear. Choose to grow. Like the reason you're here on this interview is because I love you and I want everyone I know to know you too. So I want everybody to know what you're up to. You know, we talked a little bit about Snap School, but tell us more about that. Tell us where to find you, and just in closing, like where are you, and like let us know how to find you.
So I live at melissaopie.com, and snapschool.me is the site for Snap School. And basically, melissaopie.com is where you can find all the other projects that I'm probably going to have in the future. You never know.
And I just want to say thank you for being on today, and thank you for shining your light with us. We're shining with Melissa today. All right, guys, that is a wrap for today's interview. I hope that I get to have you back for the next episode of Shine Inside and Out. And again, my name is Andrea Pettingill, and I just want to remind you to shine your brightest today.